Good morning, everyone. I'd like to call to order the Public Improvement Commission hearing of December 6, 2018. The first item is the hearing minutes. Upon request by the Public Improvement Commission staff, the acceptance of the minutes of the PIC hearing held on November 15, 2018. Are there any questions, comments, edits to the previous hearing minutes? Okay. Then I'll entertain a motion to accept the minutes.
I'll make a motion to accept the minutes.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
So moved. Moving on to a utility pole hearing on a petition by Verizon New England to install 2 new utility poles on Quincefield Street in Dorchester to be located on its southwesterly side between Quincefield Place and Wendover Street. Morning.
Nicholas Wazen, Verizon. We're just going to put those poles there to relocate the aerial facilities to get rid of a trespass. That's it.
And what is the reason that we're doing this?
There's a trespass of wires above property, so they're putting the poles to avoid that.
This will eliminate the poles will eliminate the trespass?
Yes.
Any questions or comments?
No.
Amy or Todd? Members of the public? All right, I'll entertain a motion on this item.
I make a motion to approve the petition by Verizon New England to install 2 new utility poles on Quincefield Street, Dorchester, as read into the record by the chair.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
So moved. Thanks, Nicholas. Moving on to the public hearing continued on a petition by TA Realty LLC for the making of specific repairs within Boylston Street in Boston proper, located on its northwesterly side at address number 855, generally between Fairfield Street and Gloucester Street, consisting of curb, sidewalk, and tree pit reconstruction, as well as new and relocated specialty pavement and bike racks. This was new business on October 4th, 2018, and then its first public hearing on November 1st, 2018. This is as shown on a set of plans entitled City of Boston Public Works Department, Engineering Division, Specific Repairs Plan, 855 Boylston Street, Public Way, Back Bay, 2 sheets, dated September 26, 2018.
Good morning. Chelsea Christensen from Niche Engineering on behalf of TA Realty. We'd actually like to request to continue to December 20th.
Very good. Any questions or comments? Nope. Amy or Todd? Members of the public? All right. I'll entertain a motion to continue this item until the next PIC meeting, which is December 20th.
I'll make a motion to continue item PHC1 until the next meeting.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
So moved.
Thank you.
Moving on to the public hearing. First item is on a joint petition by 1000 Boylston Street owner LLC and the Boston Planning and Development Agency for the discontinuance of any and all rights to travel the public may have had within portions of Cambria Street, a public way in Roxbury, located on both sides east of St. Cecilia Street. This was new business on November 1st, 2018. This is as shown on a plan entitled City of Boston Public Works Department, Engineering Division, Highway Discontinuance, Cambria Street, Roxbury District, 1 sheet dated March 26th, 2018.
Good morning, Commissioners. My name is Michael Flannery from Goulston & Stores at 400 Atlantic Avenue. I'm here on behalf of Weiner Ventures, LLC, the proponent of the 1000 Boylston Street project, which is also known as Mass.Air Rights Project 15, proposed above the Massachusetts Turnpike. We are very happy to be back before you this morning on a number of actions, including that discontinuance in Cambria Street. We have done some homework since we were before you for new business, which we hope is reflected in our updated submissions and in our presentation today, especially with respect to changing the extent of discontinuances requested above and below Dalton Street after consulting with staff and Mr. Jysing, who's on here, in the interim couple of weeks. So we're very happy to present that to you this morning. I'm going to hand it over to Mark Youngans from VHB to give a presentation. We also have other consultants and team members with us today to answer any questions, including our executive project manager, Donnie Levine. I'm going to hand it over to Mark. Thank you.
Morning. I'm not sure I want to go through the whole project, but I hope you guys are familiar with its 1000 Boylston Street, which is an air rights project located at St. Cecilia Street, Boylston Street, and Dalton Street in the Back Bay. It's composed of what we call the terra firma parcel on Scotia Street, and air rights parcels owned by Mass DOT and the Prudential Insurance Company. reference, I'll just keep these up, one of these up here, just so in case we have to refer back to it. This is looking down St. Cecilia Street, Boylston Street here. We have a number of actions today, so I just want to at least have these available as an overview, and then we can go action by action so we can satisfy the different motions. So we're on for the discontinuance for Cambria Street, which is this one here, which is for two small portions at the corner, which we had talked about previously. This is to land an architectural element and provide the structure that we need here. We are expanding the sidewalk on this corner to provide access, which we've reviewed with the Disability Department, which you'll see is the specific repair. And we're also modifying and expanding this corner as well as part of the specific repair. This is necessary to provide a ISD required emergency egress at the street level.
Questions or comments about this particular discontinuance? Amy or Todd? Members of the public? Okay, I'll entertain a motion on these two discontinuances on Cambria Street.
I'll make a motion to approve a joint petition by 1000 Boylston Street owner LLC and the Boston Planning and Development Agency for the discontinuance of any and all rights to travel the public may have had within portions of Cambria Street, as read into the record by the chair and is shown on a plan entitled City of Boston Public Works Department, Engineering Division, Highway Discontinuance, Cambria Street, Roxbury District, one sheet dated March 26, 2018.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
So moved. Our next item is on a joint petition by 1000 Boylston Street owner LLC, the Massachusetts Department of Transportation, and the Boston Planning and Development Agency for the vertical discontinuances of Boylston Street, a public way in Roxbury located on its southeasterly side at address number 1000 between Dalton Street and St. Cecilia Street, vertically above and below the grades of the sidewalk and roadway. This was new business on November 1st, 2018, and this is as shown on a plan entitled City of Boston Public Works Department, Engineering Division, Discontinuance Plan, Vertical Subsurface, Boylston Street, Roxbury District, 2 sheets dated March 26, 2018.
This is, once again, as stated on 2 sheets. The vertical discontinuances are for building elements which project into the public right-of-way. One is a canopy at a door entrance, and the second is a canopy related to wind control in the building. And they are internally drained and heat traced to make sure that there's no impact on the sidewalk, and they're considerably above the pedestrian way. Also included are subsurface discontinuances, which are small triangles here, if you would see here on Boylston Street, related to the structure. The building is, of course, built on the walls of the Mass Pike, and they need to do some work at the ends of these walls to make the building work. So those are included here and probably most clearly shown in the sections.
Mark, can you just point out, it's fairly intuitive, where the two discontinuances are on the Boylston Street face?
In this case, it is here and then over the doorway. So it's this continuous band, which is a wind mitigation feature, and then there's an awning over the doorway, the main entrance to the building. And the subsurface discontinuances actually happen down at track level, which is a floor and a half down.
And that process has been completed with Mass DOT?
Yes.
Other questions or comments on these vertical discontinuances? Amy or Todd? Members of the public? I'll entertain a motion on this item.
Motion to approve a joint petition by 1000 Boylston Street owner LLC and the Massachusetts Department of Transportation and the Boston Planning and Development Agency for the vertical discontinuance of portions of Boylston Street, as read into the record by the chair and is shown in a plan entitled City of Boston Public Works Department, Engineering Division, Discontinuance Plan, Vertical, Subsurface, Boylston Street, Roxbury District, 2 sheets dated March 26, 2018.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
So moved. Moving on to our third item. It's on a set of joint petitions by 1000 Boylston Street owner LLC and the Boston Planning and Development Agency for the vertical discontinuance of portions of the following public ways in Roxbury, vertically above and below the grades of the sidewalks and roadways. Locations are Cambria Street, east of St. Cecilia Street, Scotia Street on its northeasterly side, southeast of St. Cecilia Street, St. Cecilia Street on its northeasterly side between Boylston Street and Scotia Street. This was new business on November 1st, 2018. This is as shown on 3 sets of plans entitled City of Boston Public Works Department, Engineering Division, Discontinuance Plan, Vertical Subsurface, Cambria Street, Roxbury District, 2 sheets, dated March 26, 2018, and the City of Boston Public Works Department, Engineering Division, Discontinuance Plan, Vertical, Scotia Street, Roxbury District, 1 sheet dated March 26, 2018, and City of Boston Public Works Department, Engineering Division, Discontinuance Plan, Vertical, Subsurface, St. Cecilia Street, Roxbury District, 2 sheets dated March 26, 2018. While Mark is getting the boards, Amy, just to clarify, for discontinuances of city land and land not, that did not go through the BPDA process, there's still sort of an appraisal process we need to go through, correct?
Yes, and that should only pertain to Dalton Street.
Great, okay.
Okay, this one is a little more interesting. The building is being an air rights project, most of the building is actually over structure, but the back portion of the building, which is where the utilities land and we connect to electric, water, gas, the whole way, is here on this terra firma parcel, and to get there we cross Cambria Street. So this building includes a bar which crosses Cambria Street, which is right here, right back on the kind of under the tower, if you would, or that area right there. And so that's what you see here on the Cambria Street plans, is this discontinuance of space above the street. We've worked with Boston Water and Sewer Commission, ISD, the fire department on making sure that the space that we provided is accurate, and will support some of the emergency vehicle access, continue to support the trucks that go in and out of the convention center and still operate as it needs to. And we're replacing utilities in this stretch to make sure that we're starting with a clean slate from Boston Water and Sewer's point of view. Cambria subsurface includes a number of foundation elements, essentially pile supported structure all the way along underneath the existing sidewalk. It's actually within the limits of the proposed sidewalk and runs continuously because that's one of the main walls that supports the building. Essentially running through here, that's where that element is. This is Boylston Street, Cambria Street. So that's Cambria Street. This is, it changes by section due to the height of the building, the needs of that location.
Mark, before you go on to Scotia, any questions on Cambria? Go for it. I just want to make sure while you were on Cambria, we were talking about Cambria. But go ahead on Scotia.
Okay, now we're on to Scotia. Scotia is the street on the back side of the project, furthest away from Boylston Street. This is a little more straightforward. It includes the wind element, and it also includes the essentially an awning over the garage entrance, similar to the ones in the front of the building. Actually, it's the, I take it back, it's not the wind element, it's the vertical fins that were placed there, placed there as a way to cut down solar glare impact of the building, which are represented all the way around the building. In the third is St. Cecilia Street. Once again, similar to Scotia Street, we have the canopy and we have the vertical fins. Once again, all along that frontage. And you can see that in this image here. There's the canopy and then the vertical fins that here to essentially break up the facade of the building. And take a step back, thank you, Mike. We also have various subsurface foundation elements on each street. We looked at Cambria Street already. On Scotia Street, once again, this is the end of one of those lines along the Mass Pike where we have to rework the foundation at the end and move into St. Cecilia Street to get that done. So that's what this includes. And nothing on Scotia Street, actually.
All right, any questions or comments on these three discontinuances?
Has the appraisals been approved on this?
The appraisals are approved by the BPDA.
And we know an outcome?
No, actually Janet just stepped out.
She has reported the associated taking place, though, so I have to imagine that she's all set.
Other questions or comments? Agree, Todd? No. Yeah.
We're talking about, you have an appraisal for all of your sessions? All of ours we do, yes.
Great. Okay,
For
thanks, Jen.
all of our takings and all the streets.
Okay. Thank you. All right, members of the public? All right, I'll entertain a motion on this item.
Make a motion to approve a set of joint petitions by 1000 Boylston Street owner LLC and the Boston Planning Development Agency for vertical discontinuance of portions of the following public ways in Roxbury, vertically above and below the grades of the sidewalk and roadway, as read into the record by the chair and as shown on the set of plans entitled City of Boston Public Works Department, Engineering Division, Discontinuance Plan, Vertical Subsurface, Cambria Street, Roxbury District, 2 sheets dated March 26, 2018, in City of Boston Public Works Department, Engineering Division, Discontinuance Plan, Vertical Scotia Street, Roxbury District, 1 sheet dated March 26, 2018, and City of Boston Public Works Department, Engineering Division, Discontinuance Plan, Vertical Subsurface, St. Cecilia Street, Roxbury District, 2 sheets dated March 26, 2018.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. So moved. Our next petition is on a joint petition by 1000 Boylston Street owner LLC, the Prudential Insurance Company of America, the Massachusetts Department of Transportation, for the vertical discontinuance of portion of Dalton Street, a public way in Roxbury, located on its southwesterly side, southeast of Boylston Street, vertically above the grade of the sidewalk. This was new business on November 1st, 2018, and this is as shown on a plan entitled City of Boston Public Works Department, Engineering Division, Discontinuance Plan, Vertical, Dalton Street, Roxbury District, 1 sheet, dated March 26, 2018.
Okay, Dalton Street is a street where we've made changes in the last 2 weeks. The vertical discontinuance is a little more straightforward. What was a more substantial discontinuance has actually been pulled back to just carry the solar fence. The wind mitigation canopy is being handled as a license because it's been redesigned to be removable, and that's to support the city's planned reconstruction of the Dalton Street Bridge. The next piece has also been, okay, where is Dalton Subsurface? That's it, just discontinue. Okay, we're not handling all the Daltons together. We're just doing this one. So that's it. So this is a revision from last time, an update based on comments from PRGC.
The canopy is now the next action, which is
Projection
canopy
license,
license.
yes. So, and this is the, this discontinuance does not yet have an appraisal, so we're still waiting on an appraisal.
Right, because it used to contain the canopy and now.
And now it's
Exactly.
separate.
Right, and that is the money that comes straight to the city versus going to the
Yep.
PTA.
Discontinuance just extends into the sidewalk area?
Yes,
How far into the sidewalk does it extend?
8 inches,
8 inches.
yes, like 30 feet in the air.
Perfect.
And obviously, there's been a number of conversations about this in particular because we all have a collective interest in making sure the Dalton Street Bridge itself can easily be reconstructed, and that we want to make sure that you as a partner are going to be working with us to make sure that anything that we need to be able to do on that stretch can be accommodated.
Absolutely. That's why we pulled back that whole area. We're 8 inches, we're about 40 feet in the air, so.
And I'll just say we're planning to have specific language, which we've already proposed in our license agreements for the license areas over and below these streets to deal with the eventuality of potentially needing to remove them.
This wrong. This is the section which could not physically be, which would be much more difficult to physically remove than the next item on the agenda. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Right. All right. And we will get, if we take an action on this, it would be contingent upon getting the appraisal and sort of the approval of the appraisal, just to be clear. Okay. Other questions or comments on this section? This item? Amy or Todd? All right. Members of the public? All right. I'll entertain a motion on this item, again, contingent upon receipt and approval of the appraisal.
I'll make a motion to approve a set of joint petitions by 1000 Boylston Street Owner LLC and Prudential Insurance Company of America, the Massachusetts Department of Transportation for the granting of projection license within Dalton Street, as read into the record by the chair and shown on a set of plans entitled the City of Boston Public Works Department, Engineering Division, License Plan, Dalton Street, Roxbury District, 2 sheets dated March 26, 2018.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. So moved. Our next item is on a set of joint petitions by 1000 Boylston Street.
Excuse me, just a point of order. I think that was the next motion that, yeah.
Yes,
It should have
sorry.
been vertical
Sorry.
discontinuance, not
Vertical
projection
discontinuance, not
license.
projection license. Thank you, Michael.
Correction. Just so excited for the next one.
Our next item is the one which Michael just read in, but we will enter this one in. The next item is on a set of joint petitions by 1000 Boylston Street Owner LLC, Prudential Insurance Company of America, and the Massachusetts Department of Transportation for the granting of projection license for the installation of a canopy and other removable building elements above and below the sidewalk and roadway within Dalton Street, Roxbury, located on the southwesterly side, southeast of Boylston Street. This was new business on November 1st, 2018, and this is as shown on a set of plans entitled City of Boston Public Works Department, Engineering Division, License Plan, Dalton Street, Roxbury District, 2 sheets dated March 26, 2018.
This plan's gone through the most change. The limits and design of the wind canopy have been revised so that element is removable. And on the subsurface side, the design has been changed so that when this project weaves in with the existing tunnel, and we got a photo here somewhere. When this project comes up to here and weaves in with the existing tunnel, we provide the MassDOT required walls in between the lanes and the MBTA. So these elements that are being proposed, which are probably clearest in section, are now designed to be removable. And the idea being that they're being put in as removable features, so if the city comes back and rehabilitates or rebuilds or even changes this bridge, we can take these out and they'll be clear of the path of construction. So that's the big change. They're a little bit bigger than they were before, but it achieves the same purpose that it would have before. It's just not removable.
I appreciate all the conversations which you guys have had, and obviously the design alterations, both to convert this to a projection license and to ensure the flexibility for us to be able to do work on the bridge in the future. So, other questions or comments on this item? Amy or Todd? All right. Members of the public? All right.
Try it again?
Exactly.
All right. I'll make a motion to approve a set of joint petitions by 1000 Boylston Street Owner LLC, Prudential Insurance Company of America, and the Massachusetts Department of Transportation for the granting of a projection license in Dalton Street, as read into the record by the chair, and is shown on a set of plans entitled City of Boston Public Works Department, Engineering Division, License Plan, Dalton Street, Roxbury District, 2 sheets dated March 26, 2018.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
So moved. Our next item is on a petition by 1000 Boylston Street Owner LLC for the granting of an earth retention license for the installation of a temporary earth support system within the following public ways in Roxbury. This was new business on November 1st, 2018. The locations are Cambria Street, east of St. Cecilia Street, and St. Cecilia Street on its easterly side, south of Cambria Street. This is as shown on a set of plans entitled City of Boston Public Works Department, Engineering Division, Temporary Earth Retention Plan, 1000 Boylston Street, Boston, 2 sheets dated October 19, 2018.
Plans are a little bit more graphic in nature because of the performance design that's being executed to provide earth retention primarily along Cambria Street, but also St. Cecilia and Dalton Street, to install the foundations, to install the crane pad that's necessary to build this building, to install some electrical, temporary electrical pads and conduits. There are sections shown kind of how the system's going to work and what the existing soil conditions are like. And I have Maria Gorska from Haley and Aldrich is here who knows all the real answers. If you have questions.
What's the type of support? Is soldier piles and lagging? Are we driving sheets? Are we driving piles?
It's primarily sheet piling, some lagging to this site.
Perfect segue.
The support of excavation is soldier pile and lagging. The soldier piles will be drilled in, not vibrated in, so there's no sheet piling with vibrations.
So normally this would be the part where I request pre and post TV, the sewer lining, and all of those requirements. However, we know that we're going to be rehabilitating this sewer line, replacing a portion of the sewer line. And I think we're doing limited work on that water for a hydrant relocation, right?
Right.
So in lieu of those requirements, the final result of the project should be an intact, inspected sewer line and the water line in working condition. So we know that we're going to be doing work on it, so I don't want to make you TV a line that we're going to be ripping out. So
Appreciate that.
more concerned with the final product being in perfect working condition. Okay?
Thank you.
So the Tower Crane Foundation in Cambria Street, discussions with the Heinz Convention Center?
Yes, we've met with the convention center. We'll be leaving Cambria Street open 24/7. We never close it off. We'll also, through our CMP that we've worked out, we'll always have police details put in place, so we'll be able to monitor both the convention center, Berkeley, and also for the church with Father Uni. So we've met with all three parties back there.
So obviously the issue is the move into the Heinz is a backing move in their docks.
So they're able to pull in and actually turn around within the convention center, so it's large enough that they can do that inside the center.
Well, let's hope they do it, because generally what they do is they back down that street.
Yeah.
So, and with that foundation being within the right-of-way, I mean, it's some issue. Final condition, what happens to that foundation at the end of the project, as well as the electrical conduits servicing the power for it?
We're proposing that they be removed within this.
You're gonna take out that whole
6 feet, I
foundation?
believe. Yeah.
They're going to be taken down to a depth of 6 feet.
6 feet.
However, sorry, they're going to be taken down to a depth of, Todd saying 10 feet, I believe, Todd.
And feet in a road, 6 feet in a sidewalk.
Below that, we need to leave foundation in place because it connects to our building foundation, and that is an element of the subsurface discontinuance within Cambria Street.
And again, this, for the record, the construction management plan has been approved by the Transportation Department. And we appreciate the effort that went into that. Very difficult.
Other questions or comments on the oath of retention? Name or Todd? Members of the public? I'll entertain a motion on the earth retention license.
I'll make a motion to approve a petition by 1000 Boylston Street owner LLC for the granting of an earth retention license for the installation of temporary earth support systems within the following public ways in Roxbury, as read into the record by the chair and is shown on a set of plans entitled City of Boston Public Works Department, Engineering Division, Temporary Earth Retention Plan, 1000 Boylston Street, Boston, 2 sheets dated October 19th, 2018.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Our next item is on a set of joint petitions by 1000 Boylston Street owner LLC, the Prudential Insurance Company of America, and the Massachusetts Department of Transportation for the acceptance of pedestrian easements adjacent to Boylston Street in Roxbury, located on its southeasterly side at address number 1000 between Dalton Street and St. Cecilia Street. This was new business on November 15th, 2018, and this is shown on a plan entitled City of Boston Public Works Department, Engineering Division, Easement Plan, Boylston Street, Dalton Street, 1000 Boylston Street, Boston, 1 sheet dated November 9th, 2018.
The existing sidewalk along Boylston Street is being substantially widened as a part of this project, and is being widened onto private land. So in order to support that public access, we're proposing a pedestrian easement. It'll be clear when we see the specific repair plans where that's where the new curb line and building face are better shown. We're proposing a pedestrian easement along Boylston Street that is on the sites owned by the Mass Turnpike and the Mass DOT and the Prudential Insurance Company. And it stretches along the entire frontage and turns the corner of Dalton Street.
Questions or comments on the pedestrian easement?
Good.
Amy or Todd?
Good.
All right, members of the public? All right, I'll entertain a motion on the pedestrian easement.
Make a motion to approve a set of joint petitions by 1000 Boylston Street owner LLC, Prudential Insurance Company of America, and the Massachusetts Department of Transportation for the acceptance of pedestrian easements adjacent to Boylston Street, Roxbury, located on the southeasterly side at address number 1000 between Dalton Street and St. Cecilia Street. New business, 11/15/2018, shown on a plan entitled City of Boston Public Works Department, Engineering Division, Easement Plan, Boylston Street, Dalton Street, 1000 Boylston Street, Boston, one sheet dated November 9th, 2018.
Second. All in favor? Aye. So moved. Our next item is on a set of joint petitions by 1000 Boylston Street owner LLC, the Prudential Insurance Company of America, and the Massachusetts Department of Transportation for the making of specific repairs within the following public ways in Roxbury, consisting of curb realignment, roadway and sidewalk reconstruction, as well as new and relocated pedestrian ramps, specialty pavers, street trees, street furniture, bike racks, bollards, planters, landscaping, and driveway curb cuts. The locations are Boylston Street on its southeasterly side at address number 1000 between Dalton Street and St. Cecilia Street, Cambria Street on both sides between St. Cecilia Street and Dalton Street at the southerly corner of its intersection with Boylston Street, Scotia Street on its northeasterly side southeast of St. Cecilia Street, and St. Cecilia Street on both sides between Boylston Street and Scotia Street. This was new business on November 15th, 2018, and this is as shown on a set of plans entitled City of Boston Public Works Department, Engineering Division, Specific Repair Plan, Boylston Street, Cambria Street, St. Cecilia Street, Scotia Street, 1000 Boylston Street, Boston, 6 sheets dated September 28th, 2018.
Of course, in the end, we want a nice sidewalk, so these specific repairs are generally related to the streetscape on all the streets that we touch around the site. I think the one to highlight is Boylston Street. We've worked with disabilities, Mayor's Office on Disabilities, and the EPDA Design Group on bringing this design to where it is. One of the questions that was asked last time is, are we consistent with the Boylston Street plan? And I reached out to Boston Public Works Design, and I got their details for work they're doing down the street on Boylston Street. Generally, we are consistent. They have the same basic setup. What's significantly different here is we have a planter that's very different where they can do tree pits. Here we're on a deck, so the only way we can make our trees work. So we're doing a planter that's pretty nice, but different than what they have. And we're tweaking the paver type to make sure that we're consistent from a color point of view. Other than that, we're reasonably consistent with what they're proposing. And the area behind the public sidewalk is really up to the different buildings, so that's someplace where we think we're okay where we are now. We're updating the lighting, the sidewalks to be wider and a concrete path all the way around. Pedestrian ramps, we've looked at the pedestrian ramps across the street at all the locations we have, which is consistent with Public Improvement Commission policy. This is the St. Cecilia Street piece. Once again, rebuilding the sidewalks. This is someplace where we can get pavers, permeable pavers to work. We don't have as many of those places as we'd like, just due to the fact that we're over a structure. And then, of course, on Scotia Street and Dalton Street. No, nothing on Dalton Street. I'm sorry, Scotia Street and Cambridge Street. But we generally carry the same palette of materials around the building, maximize the sidewalk width over what we have now. We're reasonably constrained, especially on Scotia Street, but we push it out as much as we can.
I know you referenced, Mark, that you've had conversations with the BPDA. My understanding is that the Urban Design Group has not reviewed or actually even received some of the plans and hasn't reviewed or signed off on the plans yet. Is that right?
We had sent them as part of the original notification package and actually met with them a couple of times over the summer.
Yeah.
But the final package, we didn't sit down with because it was I guess we saw it as a minor update, so if we want to make a contingent on making them happy, I'm good with that. Because in this case, we will be responsible for the sidewalk, and they're gonna have to give us our final sidewalk sign-offs. I leave it to you to figure that out, but, yeah, I didn't realize that was something that was still outstanding, and we've re-forwarded everything to make sure they have it.
I think one way just in sort of addressing this, we can take this item and just have it sort of as an item on the meeting on the December 20th, just so there's a chance for the BPDA Urban Design Group just to simply do their final review, if that works as a.
Okay.
Do we know what their concern is, or what their?
So they had not received the final review plans prior to our new business hearing, and they let me know. I informed these guys who set up a meeting. That meeting never happened, so they just have not reviewed the plans as they stand today since the summer. So they just haven't seen them.
The specific question I have relative to the tree pits,
Mm-hmm.
are they're elevated?
Yes.
So you have parking meters, ADA accessibility. If you can you open your car door the way the meter layout is on Boylston Street? Or can they actually get up to the curb with the raised planters in the way?
They're offset from the curb, they're not right on the curb.
What's the offset?
I don't think it's a full 3 feet, that's what I need to check. The offset from the curb is about 1.5 feet.
So if one of them's lined up or to multiple locations or with a parking meter layout, nobody can get out of their car. Have we looked at that?
I'd have to defer to the landscape folks who aren't here. Maybe that's something we need to work out with Jill and her crew over the next couple of days.
Because the other thing, I haven't seen anything. You talk about bike racks, but you don't talk about parking meters and where they're laying out. Very important.
We have bike racks. We weren't sure how the whole parking meter thing was going to end up, whether it would be central pay or individuals or.
We need to know that.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
So why don't, as part of that Urban Design Group conversation, we'll somebody from BTD there as well to work through this. Other questions or comments on the specific repair plan? Amy or Todd? Members of the public? All right. So entertain a motion to continue this item until the next PIC meeting, which will be December 20th.
I'll make a motion to continue public hearing number 8 until the next meeting on 12/20/2018.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
So moved. Thank you so much. Moving on to our next item. It's on a joint petition by Fenway Center LLC and the Massachusetts Department of Transportation for the vertical discontinuances of portions of Beacon Street, a public way, in Boston proper, located on a southerly side at address number 775, generally east of Maitland Street, vertically above the grade of the sidewalks. This was new business on November 15th, 2018. And this is as shown on a plan entitled City of Boston Public Works Department, Engineering Division, Vertical Discontinuance Plan, 775 Beacon Street, Boston proper, one sheet dated January 10th, 2018.
Morning, Commissioners. Kevin Wright, VHB. I'm here with Matt Elam and Paul Maloney from TAT and Ownership, architects and the owners. We're here to present the vertical discontinuance for Beacon Street, 775 Beacon Street, to discontinue portions of southerly side of Beacon Street for projections that are on the building, Tower 2 at 775 Beacon Street. As we stated at the new business hearing, we've done all the proper channels, notifications, and received responses. And just for your visual point, these are the bands or projections at different points along the building. From the visual perspective, in the rendering, here's the formal plan. As you can see in the formal plan, we've got 4 areas. 3 areas are of the similar size in terms of their square footage. Their volumes vary slightly. Canopies A, B, and D are the ones that all have the same size, where we have square footages of, excuse me, 113 square feet. The last time that we were here, I know that there was a question about the volumes. The volumes are listed. A is 531 cubic feet, B is 396, and then C is 138, and D is 407. And that is respected to the heights that are shown here with the different elevations on the plan.
And those are inclusive of the buffer we're asking for, so it's a total of 1,477 cubic feet with the buffer, and the actual cubic feet is 388. So it's significantly less than the
If I recall correctly, part of the reason that PAR was, as sort of focused on this particular piece, was related to the appraisal. Have we received the appraisal?
We have submitted the original appraisal, which had that nominal value, and we were working with.
As stated in the appraisal that Byrne McKinney provided, that their determination of value is relative to impact to the public realm and value to the property, as these are architectural bandings and provide no real value to the property outside of visual aesthetics that are more pleasing to the public. And impact to the public realm, the determination was that the value is effectively negligible, since it's not impacting the public realm and it's not really necessarily positively impacting the building as it states.
It's still a net reduction of public space.
Correct.
I mean, I think that as just for our own sort of approach, and correct me if I'm wrong, when there's a net reduction of public space, we do look for an appraisal. We do think that loss of public space does have a public value.
In lieu of an appraisal by you, we will come up with a value for you.
Perfect.
So if that's your preference, we can have the assessing department provide you with a value, but you have to commit to pay whatever that value is.
We agree. Great. Sorry, Kevin. Anything else?
Nope, that's it.
Other questions or comments on Amy or Todd? Members of the public? All right, I'll entertain a motion on this, again, contingent upon sort of the provision of an appraisal by the city and acceptance by the proponent.
I'll make a motion to accept a joint petition by Fenway Center LLC and the Massachusetts Department of Transportation for vertical discontinuances on Beacon Street, as read into the record by the chair and as shown on a set of plans entitled City of Boston Public Works Department, Engineering Division. Vertical discontinuance plan, 775 Beacon Street, Boston proper, one sheet, dated January 10th, 2018, contingent on the assessment.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
So moved.
Thank you very much.
Moving on to our next item, on a joint petition by West Block LLC and the Mass Bay Credit Union for the discontinuance of any and all rights to travel the public may have had within a segment of Gold Street, a public way, South Boston, between A Street and the South Boston Hall Road. This was new business on November 15th, 2018, and it's as shown on a plan entitled City of Boston Public Works Department, Engineering Division, Discontinuance Plan, Gold Street, South Boston, one sheet dated November 9th, 2018.
Good morning. My name is James Downing from Harvard Stein Hudson. I'm joined this morning by Tom Broderick and Tim Russell, representing West Block LLC. We're here to present a discontinuance plan. The reasons behind the discontinuance plan are the proponent is planning on developing a project at 20 West 5th. Vehicular access to the site will be from Gold Street. Right now, Gold Street is only 20 foot wide, does not support an ADA accessible sidewalk with two-way vehicle travel. So basically, after the discontinuance is accepted, the proponent will basically construct a flush driveway to support ADA accessibility and for two-way travel. There are some existing utilities there that we've granted easements with. The remainder being Boston Water and Sewer, which we will convert to a private lateral during the Boston Water and Sewer site plan approval process. We'll also install and have updated the TAPA for a no left turn out of Gold Street as well.
James, I think the next 3 items are all related to this project. Can you just give a quick overview of the project itself? Or
The proponent is constructing a new residential development at 20 West 5th. We are planning on doing some specific repairs on 20 West 5th, or on West 5th Street as well. We do not have enough property to provide a 5-foot continuous concrete cement sidewalk behind the tree pits, so we are also seeking a pedestrian easement as well for that.
questions or comments on discontinuance?
Outreach to fire, EMS, police relative to the discontinuance?
I believe some letters were sent to the key fire commissioners. I don't know if they've been directly given to each engine and also to the C6 headquarters yet, but we'll follow up with that.
Right, because we'll send out the general notifications so you update their CAT.
Yes.
But obviously there should be a review, fire, obviously from a firefighting exposure perspective, if they have any specific comments, so.
So their access will remain pretty much unchanged. It's just essentially going to be a driveway that leads to their garage versus our alley.
Right. But we want to have emergency service take a look at it.
Sure.
I know we talked about this in new business, and James, I think you sort of briefly covered it. All abutters are comfortable with this plan.
Correct. It's just the one abutter, which is Mass Bay, who are on board with the petition.
Great. Member Todd, members of the public. I'll entertain a motion on this item.
I'll make a motion on a joint petition to approve a joint petition by West Block LLC and Mass Bay Credit Union for the discontinuance on Gold Street, as read into the record by the chair and shown on a plan entitled City of Boston Public Works Department, Engineering Division, Discontinuance Plan, Gold Street, South Boston, 1 sheet dated November 9th, 2018.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
So moved. Our next item is on a petition by West Block LLC. A petition by West Block LLC for the making of specific repairs within the following public ways in South Boston, consisting of curb and sidewalk reconstruction, as well as new and relocated specialty pavers, street trees, and what's that? Oh, I did. You're right, West 5th. Thank you. On the petition by West Block LLC for the acceptance of a pedestrian easement adjacent to West 5th Street, South Boston, located on its northeasterly side at address number 20, northwest of the South Boston Hall Road. This was new business on November 15th, 2018, and this is as shown on a plan entitled City of Boston Public Works Department, Engineering Division, Pedestrian Easement Plan, West 5th Street, South Boston, 1 sheet dated November 9th, 2018.
So as a result of the specific repairs that we're planning for the project, we do not have the 5 feet behind the tree pits, so we're proposing to, we have 4.5 feet, so we're proposing to provide a 6-inch easement along the entire frontage of the property.
The 6 inches gives us the continuous 5-foot concrete.
Yep.
Questions or comments about this? Amy or Tom? Members of the public? I'll entertain a motion on this item.
Make a motion to approve a petition by West Block LLC for the acceptance of a pedestrian easement adjacent to West 5th Street, as read into the record by the chair and is shown on a plan entitled City of Boston Public Works Department, Engineering Division, Pedestrian Easement Plan, West 5th Street, South Boston, 1 sheet dated November 9th, 2018.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
So moved. Moving on to our next item, on a petition by West Block LLC for the making of specific repairs within the following public ways in South Boston, consisting of curb and sidewalk reconstruction, as well as new and relocated specialty pavers, street trees, and driveway curb cuts. The locations are West 5th Street on its northeasterly side at address number 20, northwest of the South Boston Hall Road, and A Street on its southeasterly side, generally northeast of Dorchester Avenue. This was new business on November 15, 2018, and this is as shown on a set of plans entitled City of Boston Public Works Department, Engineering Division, Specific Repair Plan, 20 West 5th Street and A Street, South Boston, 2 sheets dated November 9th, 2018.
So the specific repair for West 5th Street will include the planting of 7 new street trees. Also, we'll have a 3.5-foot permeable paver buffer between the street trees, and the remainder of 4.5 feet of continuous concrete. But granted the easement, we'll add an additional 6 inches for a 5 feet sidewalk behind the street trees. The discontinuance of Gold Street will be converted essentially into a driveway. Therefore, the proposed specific repair plan on A Street will be to construct a new typical public works driveway apron.
For the permeable pavers, is there an LMI for maintenance? Yes.
Construction management plan, has that been submitted?
Yes.
I got it, all right. Again, I think I asked this. Thank you.
I was hoping you'd ask.
Questions or comments on the specific repair plan? Members of the public? All right, I'll entertain a motion on the specific repair plan.
I'll make a motion to approve the petition by West Block LLC for making the specific repairs within the following public ways in South Boston, consisting of curb and sidewalk reconstruction, as well as new and relocated specialty pavers, street trees, and driveway curb cuts, as read into the record by the chair and as shown on a set of plans entitled City of Boston Public Works Department, Engineering Division Specific Repair Plan, 20 West 5th Street and A Street, South Boston, 2 sheets dated November 9th, 2018.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
So moved. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Our next item is on a petition by the Conservatory Lab Charter School Foundation, Inc. for the acceptance of a pedestrian easement adjacent to Quincy Street in Dorchester, located on its northeasterly side, southeast of Columbia Road. This was new business on November 15th, 2018. And this is as shown on a plan entitled City of Boston Public Works Department, Engineering Division, Pedestrian Easement Plan, Quincy Street, Dorchester, 1 sheet dated December 2018.
Good morning. Chelsea Christensen from Niche Engineering on behalf of Conservatory Lab Charter School. With me today is Lindsay Richard from Q-Row Development. We are proposing a new 3-story charter school at 395 Columbia Road. The pedestrian easement is related to the improvements to be done on Quincy Street. We are constructing a new sidewalk and a planting strip along the curb, and therefore moving the concrete sidewalk onto the private property to allow, it's about a 10-foot wide concrete walk.
I know we had some conversation during the new business hearing. The section of Quincy Street that we're currently reconstructing is on the opposite side of Columbia
Correct.
Road.
So I had asked at the previous hearing if you touch base with our engineering and Boston Public Schools Transportation, Peter Crossan, to go over what the plans are for student arrival, dismissal, bus pickup, walk to school issues, school zone flashers, et cetera. Did we make that meeting? And what are we looking at?
We have not had a formal meeting on that.
It's a problem.
Okay. We did look at the signage in the area to see what school signs were there. There is one on Quincy Street already, and we're prepared to add school zone signs on Columbia Road as needed.
Because when the new headmaster or principal, they open that school, that's the first request they're going to ask me.
Okay.
So I want it taken care of beforehand. Right? So when are we going to schedule a meeting?
Next week?
I mean, this is a good project, but we want to make it a safe project, and we want to make it for the students and their safety. So it's paramount.
Other questions or comments? Members of the public? Amy, for formality, much of, I think, what Commissioner Hess was talking about would be related to the specific repair plan, but should we make both?
No, so they can grant us the pet easement because that's just making the sidewalk whole.
And then we can have the specific repair plan be contingent. Okay. That'll work for you. Okay. All right.
That'll work.
Then I'll entertain a motion on the pedestrian easement.
I'll make a motion to approve a petition by Conservatory Lab Charter School Foundation, Inc. for the acceptance of a pedestrian easement on Quincy Street as read into record by the chair and shown on a plan entitled City of Boston Public Works Department, Engineering Division, Pedestrian Easement Plan, Quincy Street, Dorchester, 1 sheet dated December 2018.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
So moved. Our next item is on a petition by Conservatory Lab Charter School Foundation, Inc. for the making of specific repairs within the following public ways in Dorchester, consisting of curb and sidewalk reconstruction, as well as new and relocated pedestrian ramps, street trees, landscaping, and driveway curb cuts. The locations are Columbia Road on the southeasterly side at address number 395, northeast of Quincy Street, and Quincy Street on its northeasterly side, southeast of Columbia Road. This was new business on November 15th, 2018. This is as shown on a set of plans entitled City of Boston Public Works Department, Engineering Division, Specific Repairs Plan at 395 Columbia Road, Quincy Street, Dorchester, 4 sheets dated December 2018.
Chelsea Christensen, Niche Engineering, on behalf of Conservatory Lab Charter School. We are requesting approval for specific repairs on Columbia Road and Quincy Street. The specific repairs on Quincy Street include a approximately 10-foot wide concrete sidewalk and a 5-foot planter strip. The plan has been revised since we were last here to allow pass-throughs in the planting strip so that to discourage them from being trampled. There's also one street light that is to be relocated in the proposed curb cut at the exit of our driveway here. The improvements along Columbia Road include a 7.5-foot wide minimum concrete sidewalk in the public way, as well as a 5-foot wide planting strip with the same pass-throughs going through, and the closing of several curb cuts and reconstructing 2 new curb cuts.
So when you talk about a pass-through, what specifically you make reference to?
In this original plan, we had solid planter strip along here. Now the plans have been revised to allow every 20 or 40 feet to allow between parked cars that someone could get out of their car and walk through here without trampling on grass.
That's good. I'm just concerned about the other way with students exiting.
Oh no, it's really just for the people parked on the roadway.
Have you done a signage and markings plan for the parking regulations and all that?
We have not proposed any changes to parking in the street.
And it's currently, what's that stretch of Columbia Road currently?
It's actually only signed for snow emergency. So
that can be discussion at the meeting also, so that's fine. Construction management plan, has that been submitted?
it has been prepared. I don't believe it's been submitted, but it is definitely ready to, if it hasn't already.
Who's the contractor?
Commodore Builders.
Is there an LMI for the plantings along Columbia Road?
It's been drafted. It hasn't been finalized. I don't think Chong has it yet.
This action should also be contingent upon the approval of positive outcome of the
Oh, that's right. We have 3 trees that are being removed, and we have not had our tree hearing yet. We have gotten general Parks Department approval on the project, though.
They're adding.
Yeah.
So.
They'll balance out.
Yeah.
The tree hearings for adding trees?
No, so they're removing trees to create their driveway, but they're removing 3 and adding 40 or something of that ilk, so that the number of net trees will be significantly positive at the end of this.
Other questions or comments? Amy or Todd? Members of the public? All right, I'll entertain a motion on this. I believe contingent on 3 different things. One is the meeting with BTD on both safe routes to school and a signage plan for both Quincy Street and Columbia Road. The second is the LMI, and the third is the tree hearing with the Parks Department.
Make a motion to approve a petition by Conservatory Lab Charter School Foundation Incorporated for the making of specific repairs within the following public ways in Dorchester, consisting of curb and sidewalk reconstruction, as well as new and relocated pedestrian ramps, street trees, landscaping, and driveway curb cuts, as read into the record by the chair, and contingent upon the items he mentioned, as shown in a set of plans entitled City of Boston Public Works Department, Engineering Division, Specific Repairs Plan, 395 Columbia Road, Quincy Street, Dorchester, 4 sheets dated December 2018.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
So moved.
Thank you.
Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Moving on to our next item, on a joint petition by One Dalton Owner LLC and the Boston Planning and Development Agency for the discontinuance of any and all rights to travel the public may have had within a portion of Dalton Street, a public way in Roxbury, located on its easterly side at address number 1, generally between Belvedere Street and St. Germain Street. This was new business on November 15th, 2018, and this is as shown on a plan entitled City of Boston Public Works Department, Engineering Division, Discontinuance Plan, 1 Dalton Street, Roxbury, 1 sheet dated June 27th, 2018.
Morning, Chris Sonny, Niche Engineering here with Susan Kincaid from WilmerHale and Jocelyn Stewart from Cambridge 7 Associates. And we're here on behalf of the One Dalton Tower LLC and the BPDA for a discontinuance of a small arc on Dalton Street. Project is the One Dalton Tower. It's been under construction for a while now, sort of nearing the end, and this small arc is just to accommodate a small vestibule in the sidewalk. And it's 121 square feet approximately, and it's underneath the previously approved canopy. Turn it over to Jocelyn to talk a little bit about the vestibule.
This gives you a sense of the scale, the overall footprint of the tower. The blue sliver here is the size of the vestibule. And this gives you a sense in terms of the perspective. It's essentially just this, and this is the canopy overhanging. In section, we've taken a vertical section up to elevation 62 feet 11, and down, I guess, as they say, to hell. And then this gives you a sense in terms of its perspective, its elevation. The height allows, I guess, work on the support system, essentially. So that is essentially it.
And again, this is sort of recessed from, it's actually sort of closer to the building face than the actual projection of the building itself. Is that right? The building is, the canopy extends beyond.
Yes, this does project beyond, but it also projects deeply into the vestibule itself. One of the primary reasons for doing this is to get an energy code compliant vestibule, which is a 10-foot deep vestibule. If you project it too deeply in, you'd have no more reception area for guests. So we basically split the difference, pushing inward as well as pushing outward, and that's where we arrived at this footprint.
Yeah, and the canopy extends out to about the curb line, actually beyond the curb line a bit.
You can get a sense of it right here.
Yep.
Actually,
so it's a lot farther.
To the drop off. That's the edge of the canopy right there.
Questions or comments on this? Amy or Todd? Members of the public? All right, I'll entertain a motion on this item.
I'll make a motion to approve a joint petition by One Dalton Owner LLC and the Boston Planning and Development Agency for the discontinuance on Dalton Street, as read into the record by the chair, and is shown on a plan entitled City of Boston Public Works Department, Engineering Division, Discontinuance Plan, 1 Dalton Street, Roxbury, 1 sheet, dated June 27th, 2018. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
So moved.
Thank you.
Our next item is on a joint petition by the Massachusetts Bay Transportation Authority and the Boston Planning and Development Agency for the discontinuance of any and all rights to travel the public may have had within portions of the following public ways in Boston proper: Scollay Square, Cambridge Street on its northeasterly side between New Sudbury Street and Court Street / Tremont Street, Court Street on this northerly side east of Tremont Street and Scollay Square, New Sudbury Street at the eastern corner of its intersection with Scollay Square and Cambridge Street. This was new business on November 15th, 2018. And this is as shown on a set of plans entitled City of Boston Public Works Department, Engineering Division, Discontinuance Plan, New Sudbury Street, Cambridge Street, Court Street, Scollay Square, Boston, 2 sheets dated October 15th, 2018.
Good morning. My name is Dan Bollier, Mass Bay Transportation Authority. I'm here as a joint petition, excuse me, the Boston Planning and Development Agency for the discontinuance of portions of the public way. I have Don Schwartz from HDR Engineering with me, as well as a representative from the Planning and Development, still using the old terms. So takes a long time to get that out of my head. Jill, do you want to speak to it a little bit?
Sure.
Thank you.
Jill Zick, BPDA Urban Design. I'm the project manager for this project for the BPDA. Basically, what we're hoping to do today is request discontinuances to finish up a project that we started about 5.5 years ago in March of 2013. These discontinuances would complete the edge of what will be a public sidewalk and City Hall Plaza. These discontinuances are being requested to clarify basically the maintenance of what's the plaza versus what's the city sidewalk. And if we get these approved today, then we'll have a clear boundary of those.
And sort of physically out there, right, it's basically the line between the concrete and the brick, more or less.
Yes.
Language is already in place, preserving our easement rights? Great.
Property management's an agreement?
We've been involved throughout the process.
Lucky you.
Other questions or comments? Amy or Todd? Members of the public? Entertain a motion on this item?
I'll make a motion to approve a joint petition by Massachusetts Bay Transportation Authority and the Boston Planning and Development Agency for a discontinuance at Scollay Square / Cambridge Street, Court Street, New Sudbury Street as written to the record by the chair, and as shown on a set of plans entitled City of Boston Public Works Department Engineering Division Discontinuance Plan, New Sudbury Street, Cambridge Street, Court Street, Scollay Square, Boston, date 2 sheets dated October 15, 2018.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
So moved. Thank you.
Thank you.
Our next item is on a petition by Exonet Systems, Inc. for a grant of location with lead company status and no participants to install new telecommunications conduit within city shadow within Hereford Street in Boston proper, generally between New Sudbury Street and Commonwealth Avenue. This was new business on November 15th, 2018, and this is as shown on a plan entitled City of Boston Public Works Department Engineering Division Grant of Location Plan, Exonet Systems, Back Bay Expansion, Hereford Street and Newbury Street, one sheet dated November 2018.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners. For the record, Ricardo Souza from Prince Bell Tie here on behalf of the petitioner, Exonet Systems, and to my left, John Morrison from UC Synergetics. And Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, this is a continuing effort by Exonet to extend our wireless DAS network pursuant to our license agreement with the City of Boston. And this particular petition is a request for a micro-trenching permission for fiber along Hereford Street, approximately 325 feet along Hereford Street, but utilizing micro-trenching. The node itself has been approved by the Back Bay Architectural Commission, Boston Water and Sewer, Boston Street Lighting, and the one issue that came up at our previous hearing was relative to maintaining enough distance between our proposed node and the fire hydrant, and so we have a plan that we've submitted to staff that shows that we will maintain a distance of 5 feet 6 inches to that fire hydrant, and I think that's responsive to the question that was asked.
Got it, so we're shifting the pole, and that creates the 5'6".
That's right, exactly. Because it'll be moved away from where the existing pole is.
Carter, I know you went through this, but I just want to make sure you have got all grants you need from the city to have a DAS antenna at that location that you're showing. We're not yet.
Yes, we do. What will happen is we're just waiting for the DO-IT approval. The DO-IT approval cannot be granted until we have this DIG petition approved. That's correct.
What street lighting's approved you for?
That's right. Boston Street Lighting has approved us for the node. Boston Water and Sewer has signed off on it as well, on our plan. And Back Bay Architectural has granted a certificate of appropriateness as well for the node.
When do you expect construction?
So it will depend on when we can get our permits, but given the moratorium, we would have to get relief from the moratorium in order to do this construction.
Basically, this is in with the shopping district, Boylston, Newbury. Obviously, we wouldn't like to see you out there until after the holiday season.
Understood. We can absolutely accommodate that.
Other questions or comments? In your job? Members of the public? I'll entertain a motion on this item.
Make a motion to approve the petition by Exonet Systems for the grant of location with lead company status and no participants to install new telecommunications conduit with City Shadow is read into the record by the chair and is shown in a set of plans entitled City of Boston Public Works Department Engineering Division Grant of Location Plan, Exonet Systems, Back Bay Expansion, Hereford Street, at Newbury Street, one sheet dated November 2018.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
So moved.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Commissioners.
Our next item is on a petition by Crown Castle for a grant of location with lead company status and no participants to install new telecommunication conduit with City Shadow within the following public ways in Boston proper: Bay State Road, generally between Granby Street and Deerfield Street, and Silver Way between Commonwealth Avenue and Bay State Road. This was new business on November 15th, 2018, and this is as shown on a set of plans entitled City of Boston Public Works Department, Engineering Division, Grant of Location Plan, Bay State Road and Silver Way, Boston, 3 sheets dated November 13th, 2018.
Yes, good morning, Commissioners. Chris Murray with Crown Castle, and we're applying for the grant location for telecommunications on Bay State Road and Silver Way. There will be 600 feet of micro trench and 275 feet of conventional trench. At the new business hearing a couple weeks ago, one of the concerns that was brought up was the coordination in regards to Boston University, which is Silver Way. Yep. We've made contact with their facilities department, and we've got a schedule from them as to the best times that we could get in there to do our work to be minimally intrusive. We'll be going lead company, no participants. And the other question that came up was in regards to the formatting of the City Shadow conduit. So we made those revisions and resubmitted it.
So specifically to that point, how you're basically roping and tagging that duct as City Shadow?
I don't know if it gets roped, because I think those particular fibers get blown in the microduct, but
It's a micro trench, not a traditional trench.
I'm talking about within the request, there's traditional.
Yeah, in the conventional trench, it would be tagged appropriately. Yeah.
And how's it broken out?
What's that?
Obviously, that's feeding one of your
there would be, it's a 4-inch conduit, so it would be 3 interducts. So one of those interducts would be
But how's it broken out once you reach the point of the sidewalk where your antenna is, or your dash, or your...
There's a handhole at that location.
So that's going to be our handhole?
No, it would be our handhole, but the conduit would reach that handhole, so there'd be 2 handholes at either end, and you'd have the rope between the 2 points.
Okay. At some point, we're going to probably need to talk about that further, because I'd like to have it independent from it. Yep.
That's separate.
Yep. Yep.
Also, this area is going to be BTEL, we'll put a huge building up.
Yes.
Next.
Appreciate the coordination with VU. Just also make sure to coordinate with BTD about the optimal time to do the work, obviously. Other questions or comments? Amy or Todd? Members of the public? All right. I'll entertain a motion on this item.
Make a motion to approve a petition by Crown Castle for a grant of location with lead company status and no participants to install new telecommunication conduit with City Shadow within the following public ways in Boston proper, as read into the record by the chair and is shown on a set of plans entitled City of Boston Public Works Department, Engineering Division, Grant of Location Plan, Bay State Road and Silver Way, Boston, 3 sheets dated November 13th, 2018.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
So moved. Our next item is also on a petition by Crown Castle for a grant of location with lead company status and no participants to install new telecommunication conduit with City Shadow within the following public ways in Boston proper. Locations are Buswell Street, northeast of Park Drive between Park Drive and Mountford Street between Park Drive and St. Mary's Street. This is as shown on a set of plans entitled City of Boston Public Works Department, Engineering Division, Grant of Location Plan, Buswell Street and Park Drive, Boston, 3 sheets dated November 13th, 2018.
All right, thank you. The similar situation as the previous application. This particular area involves Park Drive, Buswell Street, and Mountfort Street. The total of conventional trench is approximately 60 feet, and the micro trench is just under 700 feet. So it's primarily micro trench in that area with a couple of small conventional trenches. Again, no participants in that area, and we made some allowances or changes in the plan due to the request by the disabilities folks to move our handhole out of the sidewalk area.
Just a comment on the plans. The last item, the locust plan actually showed the conduit run on the cover, which was nice. This one doesn't. I like when you showed the actual conduit on the cover, so I would continue doing that. It's very helpful.
Just as a general comment, we've been running into issues, not only Crown Castle, but the other providers, showing up, doing maintenance on their facilities, needs permits. You just can't show up on Boylston Street, Longwood Avenue, and that truck stopping at travel lane. All that has to be permitted. So just, if you could take that message back to the folks.
Yep.
And again, it's not just the Crown Castle, it's everybody.
Other questions or comments on this proposal? Amir Todd.
So as a point of clarification, Park Drive limits are actually between Buswell Street and Mountain Street, not Park Drive.
Not Park Drive, obviously. Thank you. Okay. Members of the public? All right. I'll entertain a motion on this item.
I'll make a motion to approve a petition by Crown Castle for a grant of location on Buswell Street, Park Drive, and Mountford Street, as read into the record by the chair, and shown on a set of plans entitled City of Boston Public Works Department, Engineering Division, Grant of Location Plan, Buswell Street and Park Drive, Boston, 3 sheets dated November 13th, 2018.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
So moved.
Thank you, Commissioners.
Our next item is on a joint petition by O'Connor Senior Housing LLC and the Boston Housing Authority for the granting of an earth retention license for the installation of a temporary earth support system within Major Michael J. O'Connor Way in South Boston, located on its southerly side at address number 5, generally east of Dorchester Avenue. This was new business on November 15th, 2018, and this is shown on a plan entitled City of Boston Public Works Department, Engineering Division, Temporary Earth Retention Plan, 5 Major Michael J. O'Connor Way in South Boston, 1 sheet dated September 28th, 2018. Good morning.
Good morning, Commissioners. I'm Adrian Walsh, General Super with Built Right Construction.
I'm Donna Brown with O'Connor Way Senior Housing, LLC.
Please, you can explain the earth retention plan?
Yes, it's for 56 feet, and we have, there was a couple of, we had to do a camera of the sewer line prior, and that has been done. We hand delivered it yesterday.
I got it yesterday.
Yes.
I haven't reviewed it yet, but I will get you a letter back saying this is what we agree is the existing condition of the sewer.
Sure.
So you'll get that back next week.
And I believe that was the only comments from the last meeting. The CMP plan, I believe, has been approved.
It will be signed off today.
Yes.
Yep. That was a good back and forth. That was good.
Yeah.
Other questions or comments on this? Amy or Todd? Members of the public? All right, I'll entertain a motion on this item.
Could I add a contingency? Actually, I'll make a motion to approve contingent on the satisfactory video.
Sure.
Just because I haven't reviewed it yet.
Right.
So I'll make a motion to approve a joint petition by O'Connor Senior Housing LLC and the Boston Housing Authority for the granting of an earth retention license in Major Michael J. O'Connor Way, as written to the record by the chair, as shown on a plan entitled City of Boston Public Works Division, Engineering Division, Temporary Earth Retention Plan, 5 Major Michael J. O'Connor Way, South Boston, 1 sheet, dated September 28th, 2018, contingent on satisfactory approval of the video by Boston Water and Sewer.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Aye.
So moved.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you, Commissioner.
Our Next item is on a joint petition by the City of Boston Transportation Department and the City of Boston Department of Neighborhood Development for the widening and relocation of the existing right-of-way lines of Dudley Street, a public way in Roxbury, located on a southerly side between Warren Street and Washington Street. This was new business on November 15th, 2018, and this is shown on a plan entitled City of Boston Public Works Department, Engineering Division, Widening and Relocation Plan, Dudley Square, Dudley Street, Public Way, Roxbury, one sheet, dated October 2018.
Hey, good morning, Commission. I'm here tonight, this morning actually, representing Boston Transportation Department and our co-petitioners for the specific repair and the widening Dudley Street, Warren Street, Washington Street. This project, we've been in design for the entirety of the square, but this particular segment called Phase 1 has been accelerated to support primarily the renovation and reconstruction of the Dudley Library, as well as set the stage for the development of the former B2 police station next door, as well as set the stage and the table for the completion of design and reconstruction of the neighboring Dudley streets and intersections. But this particular phase and segment is on the southern end of the project area along Dudley Street between Washington Street and Warren Street, around the corner, and creating frontage for the library and the future parcel on Dudley Street. We have had, in my opinion, unprecedented interagency cooperation and collaboration between BTD, Public Works, all divisions of BTD, Active, Engineering, Safety, Public Works, Department of Neighborhood Development, Public Facilities, the library itself, all working together to accelerate this segment so that we could have one final product along that southern edge of Dudley Street with the library and the future parcel in advance of finishing the rest of the project. So we accelerated this. It's been a whirlwind up to the 11th hour, to the very last minute, seeking approvals, getting comments from all agencies across the board, Water and Sewer, Parks Department, BTD, Public Works. Zach, my colleague at Public Works, has been tremendously helpful. Our design team, WSP, led by Jen Conley, the project manager, and her team, have done yeoman's work in turning around in a really compressed timeline the review and response to comments and getting these drawings ready to be bid as a capital project by the Public Works Department. So I want to thank them, and then just open it up, I guess, for questions, or we could walk through again, if we wanted to, the drawings.
I think thank you for that overview, Pat. I appreciate everybody's work on this high priority project. If we can just focus specifically for a moment on the widening and relocation of Dudley and that particular item, and then we'll get to Warren, and then we'll get to the specific repairs.
Okay, yeah, we could go up. Go ahead.
Specifically in regard to the widening of Dudley, there's an area here that you'll see that that we're anticipating the widening, and the reason for that is to provide for the 10-foot cycle track as well as the generous sidewalk, and really provide a uniform sidewalk and a uniform right-of-way along Dudley Street where it isn't currently present. In doing so, we are actually narrowing Dudley Street and providing them the pedestrian amenities of being able to have a shorter crossing distance across Dudley while also accommodating the cycle track in that same right-of-way.
What we wanted to do, Chief, is to apply the complete streets principles, but also kind of maintain the same capacity that we have. Very busy, congested area with the MBTA bus station, general traffic, lots of pedestrians, cyclists, everybody utilizing this small, tight space. So that requires us to expand kind of our footprint a little, but still that cross section that's kind of oversized on Dudley Street, where it's 90 feet across curb to curb. We can get the right-sized travel lanes and the right-sized bike facilities and sidewalk for the population that uses this presently and 10, 12, 15 years out.
But to clarify, we're not making improvements in any level of service. Right?
No deterioration, Eddie.
No improvements. All right.
Well, by
Improvements for
consent,
this
level
level
of service goes up.
Yeah, we do.
Understood.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, there's improvements even with the background growth, with the development and the projections that we have for future building conditions. So it was tricky, but we were able to work with the engineering staff at PTD and our design team to, put all those pieces together to come up with operations that doesn't just keep the status quo, even though we're adding to the volume. We do have improvements in intersection operations.
Questions or comments on this widening and relocation? Amy or Todd? Members of the public? All right, I'll entertain a motion on this widening and relocation.
I'll make a motion to approve a joint petition by the City of Boston Transportation Department and the City of Boston Department of Neighborhood Development for the widening and relocation of the existing right-of-way lines of Dudley Street as read into the record by the chair and is shown on a plan entitled City of Boston Public Works Department, Engineering Division, Widening and Relocation Plan, Dudley Square, Dudley Street, Public Way, Roxbury, one sheet dated October 2018.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. So moved. Our next item is on a joint petition by the City of Boston Transportation Department and the City of Boston Department of Neighborhood Development for the widening and relocation of the existing right-of-way lines of Warren Street, a public way, in Roxbury on its westerly side between Dudley Street and Kearsarge Avenue. This was new business on November 15th, 2018. This is as shown on a plan entitled City of Boston Public Works Department, Engineering Division, Widening and Relocation Plan, Dudley Square, Warren Street, Public Way, Roxbury, one sheet, dated October 2018. Pat or Jen, if you can walk us through this part of the proposal.
Yes, Chief. Similarly to Dudley Street, in order to accommodate all the different modes, we required this specific repair and widening to accommodate frontage for the library, inadequate sidewalk, and the cycle track that makes the turn from Dudley onto Warren Street and then connects with an existing bike facility along Warren Street and potentially future bike accommodations on Warren. It wouldn't preclude that from happening and kind of sets the stage for bike facilities on Warren. We originally had planned to signalize this, but that really just didn't work for operations and for the T, and so we make it safer, but we have the crossing closer to the intersection at Dudley and Warren, and provide for operations for the T, for general traffic, and also peds and bikes.
So I know, Patrick, we talked earlier today, so basically the engineering comments basically have been processed. Perfect, thank you.
Yes, correct. We've had the 75% submittal, 100% submittal, and gradually turning around all the response comments to PS&E, and again up to the 11th hour, working with your staff and others in the department to make sure that we address all the comments and have them in the plan for the bid package.
Pat's been a busy man.
Other questions or comments on this widening relocation? Warren? Amy or Todd? Members of the public? All right, I'll entertain a motion on this widening relocation.
I'll make a motion to approve joint petition by the City of Boston Transportation Department and the City of Boston Department of Neighborhood Development for the widening and relocation of Warren Street as read into the record by the chair, and is shown us on a plan entitled City of Boston Public Works Department, Engineering Division, Widening and Relocation Plan, Dudley Square, Warren Street, Public Way, Roxbury, one sheet, dated October 2018.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Aye. So moved. Our next item is on a joint petition by the City of Boston Transportation Department and the City of Boston Department of Neighborhood Development and the City of Boston Public Facilities Department for the making of specific repairs within the following public ways in Roxbury, consisting of curb and median realignment, roadway and sidewalk reconstruction, as well as new and relocated pedestrian ramp, specialty pavement, street trees, street furniture, planters, landscaping, bicycle infrastructure, and driveway curb cuts. The locations are Dudley Street on its southerly side between Warren Street and Washington Street, Warren Street on its westerly side between Dudley Street and Kearsarge Avenue, and Washington Street on its southeasterly side at Dudley Street. This was new business on November 15th, 2018, and this is as shown on a set of plans entitled City of Boston Public Works Department, Engineering Division, Specific Repair Plan, Dudley Square, Dudley Street and Warren Street, Roxbury, 6 sheets, dated October 2018.
This last item, Chief and Commissioners, this is really for the whole ball of wax site, the way I'm reading it, for all the departments that we've been cooperating with and for the entirety of all of the improvements that we have, the streetscape, the landscape, the plaza area. We took on an additional kind of square footage area by the library to build for them, since their scope of work was really limited to the building. So that's included in this whole package for the specific repair. And also, what this does is the entirety of the design of this phase one, it has to work for the existing conditions, because it'll almost be interim until we complete the rest of the square, and it has to work for both. It has to work for the immediate near term with existing, and then set the stage and lay the foundation for the rest of the square to be designed and built off of this. So I think we accomplished that in this plan. And again, with the cooperation of the library team and D&D, and they have Plan Dudley, planning initiative that was in the, it comes out of Imagine Boston 2030 and the City School Boston Transportation Plan, working off of that. I think that this reflects those initiatives.
Can you talk briefly about the library corner, just to make, do we make those adjustments to make sure that we can actually improve that protected intersection and make it more easily to be maintained?
Today, yes, Chief and Commissioners, presently this is almost like a free right. We didn't want to take away the free right to deteriorate the level of service, so we were able to work with the lane use and the signals. We have a peak time parking restriction here so that we can accommodate that right turning lane. But what it does is it almost connects kind of that island to the mainland, so to speak, and it shortens that crossing significantly, which also helps us with the signal, because all that extra time, if it's a shorter crossing, that's less time for the head, more for vehicles, and there's still plenty of time for the pedestrians to cross the new crosswalk, but it will be a lot easier, much more pleasant experience for the pedestrian, where they don't have to do a two-stage crossing. It's just a one-stage crossing now. We kind of normalize that intersection. Yep. I mean, if you're familiar with it today, it's a series of islands that you have to kind of hop, jump, and skip across, and it can be very challenging. So this really kind of applies best practices, more modern standards to the intersection design and pedestrian safety. And it does remove that free right, but still works for traffic and really improves things for pedestrians.
Other questions or comments on this piece of paper? Maybe your top? Members of the public? All right. Entertain a motion on the specific repair plan.
Make a motion to approve a joint petition by the City of Boston Transportation Department, the City of Boston Department of Neighborhood Development, and the City of Boston Public Facilities Department for the making of specific repairs, as read into the record by the Chair and is shown in a set of plans entitled City of Boston Public Works Department, Engineering Division, Specific Repair Plan, Dudley Square, Dudley Street and Warren Street, Roxbury, 6 sheets dated October 2018.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. So moved. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Commissioners.
Moving on to our to new business. Our first item is 10 Fan Pier Boulevard, Bond Drive, Liberty Drive, Marina Park Drive in South Boston. Specific repairs on a set of petitions by Fan Pier Development, LLC.
Good morning, Commissioners. My name is John Schmidt with Ditch Engineering, and with me is Richard Martini from the Fallon Company. We are here for the 6th building parcel within the Fan Pier block in regards to modifying or asking for specific repairs to private ways that were previously laid out by this commission over the previous development, within the previous development over the past 6 or 7 years. Essentially, we are carrying the same design components and finish treatments as have been previously approved and constructed within the Fan Pier development. So this is really almost a housekeeping exercise because it's a private way, but we want to just go on record demonstrating the improvements that we are proposing.
It's clean up to make sure that we have the appropriate curb lines on our plan.
Yep.
Can you walk us through just the alteration?
Sure. Sure. So this is the proposed building, 17 stories. This is Northern Ave is over here. Park Drive comes down to Northern Ave. We have Liberty Drive, which abuts parcel D, 50 Liberty Drive, residential building that just recently opened. And so we're installing curb, drop-off area. The sidewalk materials, we poured concrete. Some will be concrete pavers. We'll have street trees. We'll have irrigation. Along Marina Park Drive that faces the harbor here, the building is set back about 30 feet. So there's a huge plaza area. On the private parcel, outside the private way, there'll be a series of fountains and other landscape improvements, concrete pavers, and a variety of street trees. Now these trees are all proposed over the building garage, so it is an interesting design in that sense, because the garage does go up to the within 5 feet of the proposed layout of the private way. Of the existing private way. Fan Pier Boulevard is at the back side of Marina Park Drive, opposite 11 Fan Pier Boulevard, which is one of the Vertex buildings. Again, we have the bump outs at the intersections. The sidewalks are completed now, so there's accessible access throughout the development, a series of street trees, and poured concrete sidewalks and concrete pavers. And then the final street is Bond Drive, which abuts one Marina Park Drive, the first building constructed in Fan Pier. We installing a new curb line. We have a garage entrance to that, correct? That's a loading dock?
No, loading dock only.
A loading dock entrance off of Bond Drive. The garage entrance to the full development is off of...
There are actually three.
Three, okay.
Yeah.
Throughout the development, there's three accesses.
Three entrances off the...
Yes.
Yeah. Poured concrete and concrete pavers. If you look at sheet, detail sheet, there's a nice log of the overview that will help describe the materials to you. We have pavers, we have granite concrete pavers, we have poured concrete, street trees with tree grates, a loading dock, the crosswalks. And then within the travel way of Marina Park Drive, also we're going to carry that paving pattern across the private way as we've done elsewhere within the development.
And I assume, similar to that comment, also up and down the Harbor Walk, the design treatment as it hits the Harbor Walk here is similar to how the rest of Fan Pier hits the Harbor Walk?
Yes, and actually the Harbor Walk's complete already in that section, so.
Got it, so it's really
Yeah.
just the...
Yep. But that planning in between the private way and the Harbor Walk will be continued.
When's the building supposed to be scheduled to go into construction?
Second quarter of the year, so we're hoping April, May.
Turner has submitted their CMP.
They have,
so
yeah.
Appreciate the early submittal.
Sure.
And also, I want to thank you for the signage out there with the new private ways thing.
Yes, thank you. Still having to let people know that, and we get posted once in a while, or tickets or whatever, but we'll figure it out. Work in progress.
Okay.
Other questions or comments on this? Mary Beth? Members of the public? All right. See you guys in 2 weeks on
Yes, sir.
December 20th.
Great. Thank you.
Until then. Our next item is 40 Rugg Road, Braintree Street, Penniman Road, Brighton, pedestrian easement, specific repairs on a set of petitions by Rugg Road USL LLC.
Good morning. Steve Maturano, Bowler Engineering, here for the 40 Rugg Road project. With me is Kristen Langone from the Michaels Organization, the project proponent, and Matt Lawler from Robinson & Cole, who's our counsel. Just I'd like to just give a brief overview of sort of what the project is, just to give you some context as to what we're trying to do here, and then we'll walk through some of the specific improvements that we're hoping to make as part of the project. Project is a 265-unit, a multifamily in 2 buildings. They're 4 rent units. There's some artist work live spaces in there, as well as some gallery space. That's just in respect to the large artist community over there in Alston. So work some public gallery space into that, and you'll see where the plaza is on the project, and I've got an image of that if interested. The neighborhood is some tighter streets, some sidewalks that have virtually no street trees on the public way today. So we had some challenges to figure out how can we enhance that, how can we do something a little bit different than has been done down in that Alston neighborhood. And we've got a few different approaches of how we did that, and really we worked closely with the BPDA design staff, had a lot of suggestions and recommendations of things for us to consider. And then we worked obviously closely with Disabilities Commission, Public Works, and other folks in city departments to sort of balance the interests while still having a good balance between the vehicular needs as well as the pedestrian needs. And then we are across the street from Penniman Park, and how do we create some better connectivity and access to the park for not only the residents of this project, but just the area in general. So I'll just quickly go around the site, around the property, show you what specifically we're doing, and happy to answer questions. Where are we here? So this is Braintree Street, Penniman Street. You've got Penniman Park is shown just down the bottom here. And you've got Rugg Road, comes up to a point. So this is Rugg Road, and then it turns into a private way, is Emery Road up there. So that gives it context. This building was just constructed. This is a separate project. It's 20 Penniman, which is a condominium project that's open and being occupied currently. And then this is an approved project separate from this one, but there's some commonality between the 2 groups, and they're working closely together. This is also a condominium project, and then this is the 40 Rugg Road project that sort of wraps around it all. So this will be a brand new block when all this development is done. So what we were tasked with is how do we get street trees was probably the biggest one. How do we create some public realm? How do we incorporate as much complete streets elements as we can? And then let's get into this and just relative to the plaza area and sort of some public realm that we're bringing into the property. This is some gallery space, and there's some retail space that this is up on Braintree Street. So this is Braintree Street here. And we've got a sort of public gathering space, which could turn into some artist space as well to let that gallery space sort of spill out into the public. How do we accomplish this? Obviously, the sidewalks aren't wide enough today. We have some pedestrian easements that we're proposing, and that gives us the room to do some larger street trees, still maintain at least a 5-foot sidewalk width there, and I think we're slightly better than that along Braintree, which is really the focus of the area, is to make sure Braintree is sort of the main road, and then Penniman and Rugg become the more pedestrian-friendly side streets of the project. So starting up here, this is Penniman Park up the top here. So we have a pervious paver strip, street trees incorporated along here. This treatment is similar. You'll see it that we did it. The side streets have the same treatment. Again, this is 30 pen and 20 pen. 30 pen will be back, and we've set it up where we'll connect in. And this treatment that we're doing here, when they're done with their design, they can come in with that same treatment across. So sort of set
Quick
up.
question, are we taking the pavers to sort of the back side of the street tree pit, or is it just sort of halfway through the?
The paver strip is narrower than the tree pits.
Okay.
So it's not going all the way to the back. Gives a little more sidewalk width there where it is a little bit narrow, but I think it's a 2-foot paver strip. I'll have to check the details with the 3-foot tree pits. again, working with the design staff, we're a little bit different. We're 3 by 10 for the tree pit, so we
Got
got
enough square
wider,
footage for.
a little bit narrower. So we've done 3 by 10 along here for the tree pits. Here we got a little bit bigger, so maybe you can have, to allow for more mature trees along the major road. And then we were giving a larger easement up along Braintree, so this total is a 12-foot sidewalk, partially given to the streetscape and the rest given to the pedestrian routes. So that's kind of the general treatment along the entire frontage. The next level that we studied was what other enhancements can we do? BPDA gave us several suggestions and really tasked us with looking at where can we do bump outs to shorten the pedestrian crossings, where can we do raised crosswalks if they're warranted.
Did that come from the transportation department?
We got the...
Who basically dictates that?
We got the feedback from the BPDA to look at it.
They have nothing to do with it.
Well, they suggested that we look at it, so we studied it.
So I would suggest that you get in with the transportation department and have that discussion.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. And Bill Conroy's been part of the conversation.
Very good.
But I know he was looking for some more specific feedback from your group, just on the technical components to make sure we're all aligned in what we're actually.
Because with the crossings, we're going to want to see a warrant analysis for the crossings.
So we did get the warrant analysis, and we took a look at that. It did not warrant a raised crosswalk, so we don't have any raised crosswalks as part of the project. We did look at it though, per the request. And that was really specific to the access to the park. So what we've done is we've proposed a bump out there to bring the pedestrian a little bit further out.
Again, we have a whole active transportation group that looks at those special occasions like what you're talking about here. I highly suggest that you get in touch with them.
Yeah, sure.
You know, to come up with other treatments and, you know, transportation tools that we could utilize. That needs to happen.
Particularly black crossings.
Yeah.
Yep.
It seems like on the opposite side of Braintree, we have no crosswalks currently going to the opposite side of Braintree. It may not, that usage on the opposite side of Braintree may not sort of call for it, but is that just because there is little pedestrian traffic that's going? You got it.
Are you
Exactly
saying
right.
this way across Braintree?
Yeah.
So this project just constructed.
Okay, so
they're brand new crosswalks that the other project constructed.
But our ped ramps, we're not showing sort of stuff that would actually get us to the other side of Braintree Street.
Yeah, we can add that detail to the plan. They're newly constructed. I think
Got
they're
it.
constructed after our survey.
Totally understand.
We
We
can
can just
pick
sort of-
that up and add them.
Put all the ped ramps on your plan and label them as compliant,
Sure.
along with the existing crosswalks.
And that goes for like Denby Road, where you're proposing crossway, and basically all the other conflicting, streets that are accessing in that area. I mean, you're showing one crosswalk going across, but it's an intersection. Is there existing crosswalks there?
There are ramps there.
Yeah, it looks like you're showing the tactile warning pads, right?
We are showing the warning
Yeah.
pads.
Yeah, exactly.
So you can kind of infer what the existing ones are.
So these crossings all exist today in some fashion. We're just trying to formalize them and do.
You're highlighting the work that you're doing. It's helpful for us to understand all the other connections that
Sure.
exist.
Sure. Yep. And just, I guess, one point of that's relevant to that is the walkway through the project that's being created here it's open to the public, right? So there was some interest from the neighbors on this side of the project to have better access to get to the park. So we've opened this up, so that's why we're really trying to formalize this crossing. There's some folks with some disabilities that are in this building during the day, and they do like to get out in the warmer weather and get to the park. So this makes it a little bit easier for them, and that's why we're proposing a mid-block crossing, which we normally wouldn't propose. But this is out of the community input and feedback that we've gotten. So that's kind of where those two are. These exist, these three crossings. We're just trying to make them better. The bump outs, specifically these bump outs along Braintree Street, they give us room to do a proper ramp, or the more preferred style ramp where you're coming up rather than pressing the sidewalk down to a level spot and rising up in both directions. So it gives us room to do a ramp that comes up and the sidewalk stays at a consistent grade.
Amy, do you know if Katie Cho has installed ramps at those locations?
I don't check.
Yeah. We might just want to connect the dots.
And same thing, and one of the benefits of doing the bump outs, I know there's concerns with plowing operations and other things, we're trying to balance all those. There's a lot of folks parking on these crosswalks today, they park right over them. The nice benefit of it's a physical restriction that will keep folks from parking on the crosswalks and make the pedestrians more visible at these crossings. So those are the things we're trying to accomplish with this, and there's easements all along the perimeter, a larger one here to allow these things to happen. So, we will definitely be coordinating with the transportation department further to make sure we've got the right elements.
That should be first.
Yep. We're working on it.
Just a couple questions.
Sure.
Obviously, this is a large project.
It is.
So we have a tap-in process?
Correct. Is it
It's not executed yet, but it's in process, yep.
Okay, it's in process. Construction management plan?
Also in process, yep.
In process.
Yep.
You have a contractor?
I don't know.
No? Okay.
I don't think so. I don't think so yet.
Yep.
How often are the tree pits? What is the spacing between them?
It's generally 30 feet. There's a few existing utilities or other things that might alter the spacing a little bit, but generally 30-foot spacing.
Amy, I'd be interested on your opinion on the pervious paver strip being thinner than the tree pits.
It's fine if there's a clear path of travel that exists behind the trees, then the pavement strip can connect the extra foot to draw a consistent line.
Yeah, I mean, I'd also defer to your opinions on the design, but I feel like people don't walk that way. So they're not going to use that extra foot of concrete sidewalk and then every 30 feet jog back in.
The rendering sort of shows the pavers flush to the edge of the tree pit. Your actual
detail.
Whereas the detail shows it halfway. I agree that to take it all the way to the back side of the tree pit will actually make it visible.
Yeah, I mean, for selfish reasons, it gets more stormwater infiltration for us. Yeah, and it feeds the trees. But also for the street trees, it would almost promote trampling of the tree pit for that 1 foot. I know it's just 1 foot, but then you're looking at compaction and tree health.
I think that's fine. We'll talk to the landscape architect, but I don't imagine there's an issue with doing it.
Is Beantown Properties still involved with this, by any chance?
Beantown?
That's Mark Resnick.
That's the seller of the property.
So it's been sold?
It has not been sold yet. It's under agreement. We'll close when it's ready to
Anybody from your side met with my department yet?
I'm sorry, what?
Has anybody from your team met with my department yet?
I think we've been in, to go through the zoning relief process we went through.
No. 20 and 30, 30 Penniman, 20 Rug Road they've been a headache for us for over 10 years. So there's a lot of paper on that. As far as I know, we're still prosecuting the property. So you may want to have a meeting before. If you file an application, that's fine, but this is the enforcement end of that. So there's a lot of past history on the property that you should probably look into because it has to be cleared up before we can allow you to move any farther. It won't affect this commission, but it will affect your permitting.
Yeah.
Can we get a copy of the letter that confirms the ownership and where that's at?
Sure.
As we think about along the furnishing zone, inclusion of bike racks just along it, we may not have that detail yet, but it's just particularly given both the residential and the commercial side, there's some good opportunity there, whether it's the active transportation folks or Andrew Hansen as well.
This is a big neighborhood for bikes, so yeah, you might want to think about where people are going to be storing their bikes and where bike racks would be needed or where the paths of travel, the entrances are.
Especially at City Park.
So are you providing that, obviously, in a lot of these tapas, there's bike storage within the building?
There is.
And we do have some visitor racks on the property, but I don't believe we're showing any in the public way at this time.
Yes, you just might want to detail what the plan is for that.
Yep.
Be a nice amenity for the neighborhood.
Yeah, sure.
Good.
Other questions, comments? Amy or Tom? December 20th work for you guys?
It does.
Great. See you in 2 weeks.
Thanks. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next item is 121 High Street, Gridley Street, Pearl Street in Boston proper. Specific repairs, projection license on a set of petitions by High Pearl LLC.
Good morning. Good afternoon. My name is John Schmidt with Niche Engineering, and with me is Richard Glanz and Sarah Lindquist who represent the property. The address is 121 High Street, and it's actually a series of 4 buildings that start at High Street, and then work their way down Pearl Street as well as Gridley Street. The driver behind this application is my client's desire to provide an accessible entrance into the building off of Gridley Street. Gridley is a sort of a backup house. I don't want to call it a public alley, but it's not, because technically it isn't, but it's really serves as an alley, primarily deliveries, trash removal, that sort of thing. And ultimately, in order to provide an entrance, accessible entrance on Gridley Street, the existing sidewalk there is about 3.5 feet wide. So we're proposing a small tabletop outside that proposed entrance. That would start at High Street. We'd have a walkway here, and then a transition up, and then there'd be a tabletop, and then a transition down to meet the existing gateway, meet the existing Gridley Street. This will provide, and then we're also going to push the curb out about 3 feet to provide a 7-foot sidewalk outside the entranceway, and then a tabletop across Gridley Street. This will provide a safer means of egress and access to the building, accessible means of egress and access to the building. And also, the street itself has very low traffic, so we're not terribly concerned about vehicles coming down the street in a fast fashion. Right now, it's the Gridley Street curb to curb is about 15 feet wide. With the tabletop, it'll be about 12 feet wide with a 7.5-foot sidewalk. Another piece of this application is to provide a canopy over the new entrance on Gridley. The canopy itself is, I have it written down here. The canopy, where are we going here? The canopy is about 15 feet above the sidewalk. The canopy is 12 feet above the sidewalk elevation and projects from the building about 4.5 feet out, which is still 2.5 feet shy of the proposed flush curb line. The sidewalk would be all concrete. There's another piece to this application as well, as we look to the other side of the intersection. You know, it's the other side of the building on High Street. I'm sorry, on Pearl Street. Where a series of, each building has an areaway that projects underneath the sidewalk. The areaway cover consists of granite pavers and bluestone. The bluestone is in disrepair, and we have approximately 40 feet of that. So what we'd like to do is remove the bluestone and reconstruct the areaway and have a poured concrete sidewalk there. The existing granite pavers is covered in asphalt. Part of this project, we want to move that granite and bring back the paver below it, as well as this also allows us an opportunity to waterproof the pavers, and from underneath they're going to shore it up and support the pavers in a manner that is necessary for structural loading. If we determine that the pavers are non-compliant at that point, and through conversations we had with the Disabilities Commission last week, we will go to the state and seek a variance for that. But we really won't know that condition until we start work and see what we have. Landmarks has approved the relocation of those bluestone pavers to Gridley Street. They've asked that we put it in the sidewalk outside the entrance. Disabilities objects to that, so we are proposing putting it in the tabletop itself. And then we'll have to go back to Landmarks and get that approval after, once we get through this process. So we'll need a, if this is approved, that may be something you include in the decision.
And Amy may want to raise this, but do you know what the utilities would be underneath those?
Wherever that bluestone lands, we want to make sure there's nothing underneath.
Yeah.
Okay, then we'll revisit that. I don't know if that's an option or not, but we will revisit that.
Or whatever's underneath it.
Yeah, right.
Do you walk through where does the sort of slope up to the tabletop happen before or after the crosswalk? After the crossing of Gridley? Yeah.
So along High Street, we will reconstruct these ramps. They'll transition down to meet the existing gutter. And then at the back of the ramp, we transition 4 feet up. The tabletop here, and then it transitions down to meet the existing. We're going to move the curb line out here, and on the other side, we're respecting that curb line. And it'll be a flush tabletop condition.
And this might be because of the sort of distance of the ramp from High Street, but is there a reason why we wouldn't start the ramp?
We spent some time looking at that, and we spent some time, but I think it was grading this year, so there is a bit of a grade change that made it difficult. I believe that Gridley is two-way traffic. There's presently no signage at each end that would indicate otherwise. And yes, and also at the end on Atlantic Ave, that is presently tabletop as part of the central area.
You're just gonna have to look at that because that's where all the trash pickups come from.
Yes.
All the dumpsters are on the street.
Yeah.
The truck's back in there. You basically look at the turns, make sure that the trash vehicles are able to make those turns with that condition.
We can do that, absolutely.
Where, is 121 Pearl part of this project?
No, the High Street, actual High Street frontage, no.
No, I'm talking Pearl Street.
Pearl Street is part of this project.
Yeah.
So, but 121 Pearl?
Looks like it's 2 buildings down, or 1 building down.
There
Where
are
all the
4.
scaffolding is up?
Yeah,
That's this project?
yes.
Have you renewed the permits on that?
We do have, we have valid permits.
Just verify that.
I will, but I was asked that question. We were asked that question in the last week or two, and we confirmed.
With Ann McNeil?
I'm sorry?
Ann McNeil in Public Works, you confirm that?
I don't know who it was confirmed with, but the contractor confirmed that it's valid through the 22nd. We hope to have that scaffold off the sidewalk by the 22nd of
It's been
December.
out there probably about 3-4 years, if not more.
It's been out there a long time.
So you're not actually doing anything to the sidewalk on High Street? This is really Gridley and Pearl?
High Street, we're not touching High Street.
Not touching
No,
the
it's just that's the building address.
But a slight expansion of the Gridley side, essentially the Gridley sidewalk.
Yeah. Yep. And
Which allows the.
yeah, and repairing the area ways on Pearl.
Other questions or comments?
But you are doing a projection license on High Street?
Yes, we also have a canopy on Gridley over the proposed entrance. The canopy is 15 feet above grade, projects out about 4 feet.
But it's on Gridley, it's not on High?
It's on Gridley, right.
Okay.
Is that High correct? Yes.
Okay.
And what's the building gonna be programmed for?
The retail space, we're looking for retail tenants.
Okay.
We've done in some of our, with the retail climate the way it is, we may go with office tenants as well. We haven't, we're looking at both options and whoever we can get first.
And we met on site several months ago.
Yes, John, do you know where they are with that, with the repair of the sidewalk vaults?
Yeah, so
I'm sorry, I
he's
didn't
asked the status of the structural design for the areaways.
We submitted, we have completed that, and
Have you submitted it to ISD?
Yes.
I don't,
So is the permit application filed? So you don't have the actual permit yet?
Correct.
Okay, well, why don't you give me a call or email me? I'll get going on that, 'cause I think it's gonna be important for the rest of this.
And I also want to thank you publicly for joining us on site and walking through the areaways. It was very helpful.
I wanna get that going and get it out of the way.
Other questions or comments? From your top? Members of the public? See you guys in 2 weeks.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you. 20th. Our next item of new business is 65 Allerton Street, Magazine Street, Roxbury, a granted location on a petition by Comcast for Boston Inc. That's good.
Tim's like the only one that can get anybody to participate.
I brought some friends today. Good afternoon, Tim Corthell with Comcast.
Ken Bates, RCN.
Nicholas Wazen, Verizon. We're here today to discuss project out on Alderton Street. Comcast is going to be lead company for approximately 400 feet of new conduit with 2 city shadows. Just a short version, there's a couple of poles that are being removed on Alderton Street, and we need to transfer our lines underground. There'll be installation of a couple manholes. Each company here will need to put their own equipment in those manholes. That's why there's a few extra manholes in here. And that's pretty much it.
Pretty straightforward question, but what made this why 3 participants here?
Okay, what has happened out there, Suffolk Construction is looking to beautify the area, so they've asked us all if we could take our aerial plant and move it underground. And in order to do that, we'd have to build conduit handholds to get everything off the...
So you have everything up, everything aerial, that's, you're all working on that.
Yes, sir.
So we're allowing you to go between the water main and the sewer, so I would ask that you split the difference so that we could have the ability to trench box either one. So don't put it tight to either one in the middle.
Maybe we'll beat out there, do a couple test pits. So.
Yep. Shouldn't be a problem.
Other questions or comments? Any on top? Members of the
Do we
public?
know if there's anybody else aerial who chose not to participate?
First shot.
No, I have told them that they need to contact everybody, it would not just be us. I don't know if Light Tower is out there or not, Light Tower, which is now Crown Castle.
We discussed with them. There's no other people on the poles itself, but
We don't want to do it all right.
But we discussed with other fiber companies if they wanted to get in the area, but there's nothing out in that
I
area.
just want to make sure that somebody's missing this opportunity.
There's also, an extra conduit, city shadow in there, a conduit then, so if need be, I'm sure something will come down the line.
Great. All right. Members of the public? All right, I'll see you guys in 2 weeks.
Thank you.
Till 20.
Straight. Now underground utilities.
Our next item of new business is Milk Street, Oliver Street, Boston proper, an earth retention license on a petition by One Post Office Square LLC.
Good afternoon. My name is David Linhart. I'm here with Goulston Stores on behalf of the development team for One Post Office Square LLC. And I'll quickly let others of the development team introduce themselves, and we'll talk about why we're here.
Good afternoon. Michael Conley from JLL. We're the development manager on behalf of Morgan Stanley. The owner.
Nate Shield with Tetra Tech Civil Engineer on the project.
And I'm Mark Haley with Haley and Aldridge, and we're the geotechnical engineer.
For One Post Office Square, we went through the BPDA Article 80 process at the earlier part of the year, and the idea is to reposition the existing 41-story office building And there'll be some facade improvements, recladding. There are some amenities, rooftop and mid-level, and some infill at the ground level under cantilever corners. And if you're looking at the office tower from Leventhal Park, behind the office tower, there's an existing garage, 8 stories, that will come down. It'll, in its place will be a 3-story garage, and then additional office space above that garage is going to connect with the office tower. So we're here today thinking about the garage demolition, and the garage actually goes 2 stories below ground in addition to the above ground piece. And for that demolition, we're looking at the support that would be required to be able to do that. And so I'll pass the presentation along to see what that's about. And thanks for time to look at this matter.
Okay, so as the garage comes down, the existing basement walls we want to maintain as they are today. And to do that, we're proposing to do soil nailing through the existing concrete wall and then anchor those into this, in and under Milk Street and Oliver Street. And this section is shown up here for both of those. So it will be along Oliver, turning the corner, and then this short section of Milk Street. The reason is because this garage there's no real way to cross-lot brace across it because you have the tower that's on the other side. So we have to really do an external earth support system, but it's only on 2 sides of the building. So what the intent would be is to drill these nails prior to the demolition of the garage, at least the ground floor of the existing garage. You take out the ground floor slab, the next level down, and then we do have some excavation in the lowest level to put in a new elevator, because the new garage, as David indicated, it goes up 3 levels, but it's going to be an automated garage. It's not going to be park yourself. We have gone to Boston Water and Sewer and talked to them. We've gone to ISD and talked to them, and they're in agreement. One of the things that Boston Water and Sewer said, we want to locate all of the shutoffs for the water system, which is being done now. We're currently TVing the sewer line, which is a combined sewer that's being
54 by 42? The big one on Milk Street?
Both on Milk and Oliver.
Perfect.
We're doing both of them actually today.
Fantastic.
Yeah, there's
So you can submit those directly to me.
Yes.
Got a permit for that?
Yes, sir. Yes. I got the permit last Friday.
Thank
you. You're welcome.
So that's, if you have any questions, I'll feel free to answer.
One quick question about sort of the garage you're putting in. What's sort of the typical throughput of an automated garage? Like how many cars can you likely park at rush hour? Is that?
It's going to be about, it's going to be 230 spaces in an automated parking. There's going to be 3 garage entrances in under the building.
Got it.
So people will be able to pull in, go into the automated garage, come out of it, the door closes, and then the system is automatic. The system takes the car away and docks it on a sled.
And so it's more Commissioner Hesper's expertise, but rush hour getting in and out, you think that that amount of, that number of bays and that
Yes.
sort of its throughput, it actually will not have queuing back up on the street?
That's correct. Yeah, so our traffic consultant, Desmond Associates, did a traffic study on peak inflow, peak outflow for this situation. Yes.
So if you could get me a copy of that, I'd be appreciated. To go along with that committee on licenses, has that been through committee on licenses?
The
Storage of fuel?
No, we have not submitted that yet.
So
We're
fire-
about to submit that.
Has Fire ISD reviewed that?
Exactly.
Because these automated ones, they're new
Yes.
technology, and there's been a lot of concern with these. And I'm sure my colleague over here, I'll tell you a little bit more about it.
Questions?
Yeah.
We agree, and we understand the sensitivity of that. And we had a couple informal meetings with BFD several months ago, just the learning curve on it, and how the parking will be laid out in the garage. There's 2 levels, 3 levels below and 2 levels above, automated. And so right now, Unitronics is our selected fabricator for the automated system, and they're working out the layout of where the vehicle sleds will be, and then the catwalks in between the cars, where the risers are, where the sprinkler pipes are, where the the connections off of fire hoses and how you're gonna get into the lower tub and the upper tub. So we're working through all that now to make a nice
Is that the
presentation.
group from South Africa?
No, they're Israeli.
Israeli.
Commissioner Brown's got some, a last question for me. Correct, one more thing. Correct me if I'm wrong, and David, you went through this. So basically, you have that large, sort of above-ground parking structure now. You're taking that down, replacing it with sort of a much reduced number of parking spaces. At some point, there'll be a specific repair plan, or you guys, great. So that's coming down the line. It's a great opportunity. I mean, Kelby Square, that's a terrific opportunity.
It is something coming down the line. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, have you been to, well, do you have an elevator consultant by any chance?
Yes, we do.
Okay, do you know if you're gonna need an elevator code variance?
For the automated parking or for, we haven't crossed that bridge yet.
Okay, and you have, I assume you've started a building permit application?
Yes.
Well, you're telling me, right? So the permit's not issued yet?
Not issued yet.
You probably want to get in front of that right away.
Okay.
Because the permit won't issue without the elevator variance. And I haven't seen one of these yet that hasn't needed one.
Okay.
I sit on the elevator board, and we have at least one automated system every time we meet, pretty much.
Sure.
Depending on the nature of it, some of them take quite a while.
All right, I'll let the consultants know that we should get that, start brainstorming on that, get that application in.
Sure.
Thank you.
Michael, isn't it also that we're going for a permit? This permit is for demolition, no construction. That comes later, correct?
That's correct. We submitted 2 applications to ISD. One's an enabling foundation and demolition permit application. That's with Louis Santana now. We've met with Louis a couple times already. Walked him through what we need for this first permit, which that's what the ISD wanted to kind of separate the package. So those documents are in place. He hopes to issue that permit mid-December. And then BFD wants us to come back in January and continue the dialogue on automated parking and all the rest of the improvements in the building for the fire alarm, fire protection, et cetera, in January. And we're hoping to receive the full tower permit sometime in February.
I think I was in the initial meeting
Possibly, yes.
with the commissioner's office, but the demo's fine. The demo's not going to be an issue. The automated system and the new permit will be.
We agree.
So just to go along with the demo, he issued the demo, I approved the construction management plan. What is that? Basically staged to the public right away.
The CMP plan?
Yep.
Yeah, Howard Stein Hudson is doing that. It's substantially done. I think that we're ready to submit that next week through JMA, John Moriarty Associates. It's ready to submit that. It's a pretty nice looking plan. It's well thought out. I saw it yesterday.
Other questions or comments on this? Amy or Todd? Members of the public? All right, see you guys in 2 weeks.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dan.
Thank you for squeezing us in. We appreciate putting us on this long agenda. Thank you.
Our next item is Bonnell Terrace, Roxbury, and abandonment on a petition by LaSalle Realty LLC.
Good afternoon. My name is Richard Levin, Kumsky & Levin. I represent the petitioner, LaSalle Realty. This is a petition to abandon Bonnell Terrace, which runs off of Washington Street, just south of Dudley Square. By way of background, John Gately, who is the owner of LaSalle Realty, operates a Cadillac parts business there, has been there since 1973. There has been no improvements on either side of Bonnell Terrace since he purchased the 2499 in 1973. Bonnell, as the Feldman plan depicts, runs approximately 170 feet from Washington Street to a bluff. So Bonnell was a dead-end street, and it runs into a hill with a retaining wall that, from my observation, has been there probably since the beginning of the 20th century. LaSalle purchased the property just to the north was a Boston parcel, and an outfit known as Archer Homes submitted a plan to build 16 units in a Dunkin' Donuts, and we did a trade with them. We agreed to the trade in 2014 to swap frontage, which we owned on Washington Street, in order that our abutter could have a squared-off parcel, and we took a piece in the back, so we'd have a squared-off parcel. So at this point, LaSalle owns both sides of Bonnell, and there are no utilities in use under Bonnell Terrace, which is a private way.
Except for Eversource.
I beg pardon?
Except for Eversource.
Okay, I think Eversource agreed.
So yeah, I believe that you've reached an agreement with Eversource. We just need a letter from Eversource confirming that.
And I know you covered this here, but the abutter to the west, so Bonnell Terrace runs into a bluff, you said, so there's no sort of means of sort of connection to that?
No, it's, there's approximately, I'd say, a 20-foot retaining wall that held the earth back from sometime long ago.
It will be a tunnel, not.
And in situations where we have to do amendments, are there appraisals, or is that, how does that?
It's a private way, so it's completely
Private way
completely
already.
by the abutters. There's only one abutter for the whole thing.
So this is existing private way?
Yes.
Other questions or comments on this? Other things you want to cover?
I don't think I have anything else to add at this time.
Any of your time? All right, see you on December 20th.
Great, yes,
Until
thank
then.
you.
Our final item of new business is 15 and 10-12 Guest Street in Brighton, an amended grant of location on a petition by Selco Partnership and NB Guest Street Associates LLC.
Good afternoon. John Moran, representing Selco Partners, doing business as Verizon Wireless. And joining me at the table is?
Matthew Callahan with CBRE and the managing agent for the landlord entity of NB Guest Street Associates.
We are here today to seek a petition to amend an existing grant of license which was issued in September 11th, 1975. Verizon wishes to install new telecommunication fiber and coaxial cable within an existing conduit across Guest Street. Verizon is licensed by the landlord to install a DAS communication system, has built out the end head equipment room in the garage, which is located at 15 Guest Street, and is utilizing the landlord's conduits on the property, and seeking an amendment today to utilize one of the conduits to cross Guest Street to continue with the DAS installation on the even-numbered side of the project. Access is by manholes. There's no opening up of the street. It's simply seeking...
Who owns the manhole?
RCN owns the manhole. We will obtain consent to open the manhole. There are adjoining manholes on the property which are owned by the landlord.
We've requested a permission letter from our.
Yes, I mean, it might be a petitioner, obviously. And you're representing Verizon Wireless?
Correct.
Here we go.
Yeah.
Here we go again. All right. So how are you affiliated with Verizon Wireless?
I'm an attorney who does permitting and licensing for Verizon.
Selco. Who is Selco?
That is the actual owner. Selco is a partnership, which is a part of the Verizon family, if I may. Selco Partners does business as Verizon Wireless.
So wouldn't it be on the petition, Selco, DBA, Verizon?
It will be at the public hearing.
All right.
The antennas themselves are on the property. They're not going to be on a street light or on another thing.
These are all internal in the building.
This
In the buildings.
This connection is a building-to-building
Building
connection.
connection, there's no other.
Right.
If I may, the DAS is diversified antenna system, which in the head house, all the carriers, if they wish, can join in and utilize the same antennas under the system. They're all internal to the buildings.
Yeah, no, I get it. I've been sitting through this stuff for too long. Thank you.
Other questions or comments on this? Amy or Todd? Members of the public? All right, so between now and December 20th, you can just get the RCN letter, and obviously we'll adjust this to make it clear that this will sell code to businesses Verizon.
Which is how they should permit.
Correct.
More so for permitting than it is here.
Yes.
Who your parent company is.
The parent company is Verizon.
Yeah, just so that we have a million sub-little companies that are all doing business as somebody else, but we care about who you're doing business with.
It's up the chain, it is Verizon.
Right.
Thank you. See you guys on the 20th.
Thank you.
I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
I would like to make a motion to adjourn.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
So moved.